All right, today we're jumping right into a real ancient puzzle. It's a story of survival, really. How does a city, this epic centerpiece of an empire, manage to survive its own destruction by fire? We're talking, of course, about Persepolis, the incredible ceremonial capital of the Achaemenid Empire. I mean, this is the core question, right? Think about it. This place was built in an active earthquake zone, and then it was famously burned to the ground. By all logic, it should be nothing but a pile of dust. So how in the world are those incredible columns still standing there for us to see today? So you might be thinking there's some kind of magic or myth involved, but the answer is no. It's something way more real and honestly a lot more impressive. The secret is engineering. Just pure, brilliant, ancient engineering. And to really get what's going on here, we have to kind of change how we look at it. Don't think of it as just a ruin or a pretty building. Think of it as a machine that was engineered from the very beginning to beat the clock, to defy time itself. Okay, so where do you start with a machine like this? Well, you start at the bottom. Its power comes from the ground up. So let's dig into its first and maybe its most important secret, this massive foundation that was literally built to control the earth it was sitting on. So how'd they do it? Well, look at this. The engineers didn't just plop a city down on the ground. No, they totally reshaped the mountain itself. They carved into it to get a flat base, filled in all the cracks with earth and stone, then added layers of crushed rock, kind of like a cushion, and then put these huge limestone blocks on top. Every single step was a strategic move against earthquakes. And the size of this thing, it's just wild. 125,000 square meters. That's not just a foundation, that's basically an artificial plane. The whole point was for it to act like one giant shock absorber for the entire city. I mean, the ambition alone is just mind-blowing. And this is where it gets really crazy. Look at this comparison. On the left, you've got their technique. These huge, heavy stones that fit together perfectly but with no mortar. Why? So they could shift and move a little. Now look at the right. That's modern tech called base isolation, and it uses flexible pads to do the exact same thing for our skyscrapers today. They were literally using the same principle 2,500 years ago. They were so far ahead of their time, it's not even funny. Okay, so they figured out how to deal with the ground shaking. Problem solved, right? Well, not quite. What about water? Rain, runoff, that was a huge threat too. And the engineers of Persepolis had a solution for that, and it was just as clever, but it was totally hidden from view. Just look at this diagram. Underneath all the grand palaces and stairways, there's this secret network of canals and tunnels. This wasn't just your average sewer system. Oh no, this was a super sophisticated drainage network, all designed to whip water away from the city and stop it from eating away at the foundations. And get this is the part that just blows my mind. After 2,500 years of everything you can imagine, war, crazy weather, being totally ignored, parts of this system still work today. Just let that sink in for a second. That's how good the design was. All right, so the designs are genius. We've got an earthquake-proof foundation and a killer drainage system. But how do you actually build all of this? This wasn't just putting up a building. The construction of Persepolis was an ancient mega project. We're talking a massive industrial-level operation. One of the big secrets to their success was something we're super familiar with today, modular building. You know, instead of trying to carve one of those massive 20-meter-tall columns out of a single giant rock, which would be almost impossible, they did it in pieces. They made a base, then a bunch of sections for the shaft, then the top part, and then they stacked them all together on site. Think of it like giant precision-engineered Legos. And this wasn't just the easy way out, it was the smart way. For one, it was way easier to move smaller pieces from the quarry. Plus, if a section ever got damaged, you could just swap out that one piece instead of the whole column. It even made the columns a bit more flexible and helped spread out the huge weight of the roof. Just genius, top to bottom. So you've got this massive project, thousands of workers. How did they manage it all? You might be picturing slaves being whipped, but you'd be wrong. We know from clay tablets they found right there at the site, and the records are just incredible. These workers got paid regular wages. They got maternity leave, safety allowances, and skilled workers got paid more. This wasn't slave labor. It was a professional workforce managed almost like a modern company. It tells you they knew that if you want to build something to last forever, you need a happy, well-cared-for team. But the genius here wasn't just about the heavy lifting and the big structures. It was in the small details, too. The architects were masters of math, and they really understood their environment. And they baked all of that knowledge into every single part of the city's design. I mean, nothing here was random. The columns are spaced almost perfectly. The main gates line up with astronomical events like the solstice. Even the famous carvings on the walls followed these super strict geometric rules. It was all planned out with a kind of precision that feels almost digital. They even figured out how to engineer the climate. Think about it. This is Iran. It gets incredibly hot. But they didn't have air conditioning, obviously. So how did they keep these huge palaces cool and comfortable? They used the buildings themselves. It was actually a three-part system. First, airflow. The giant doorways were placed just right to create these amazing cross breezes. Second, lighting. They built deep porches and polished the floors to a high shine, which cut down on glare and heat from the sun. And third, those super thick stone walls, they were like natural thermostats, soaking up the heat all day and then slowly releasing it during the cool nights. It's basically a masterclass in how to design with nature, not against it. Okay, so let's circle back to where we started. After seeing all this, let's ask that question again. Why is Persepolis still standing? How did this incredible ancient machine survive when so many other cities from that time are just gone? Because even after Alexander the Great's army came through and burned the place down, and they really did, the wooden roofs, the priceless textiles, all gone up in flames, the core of the city survived. You see, fire can't melt massive limestone blocks, and it definitely can't destroy a foundation that was built to survive an earthquake. Ultimately, that's the secret. Persepolis survived because it was a total masterpiece of smart, calculated design. Every single piece, the earthquake-proof base, the hidden water channels, the modular columns, the climate-smart layout, it all worked together as one system. It shows you their philosophy. Real strength isn't about one thing. It's about a whole system designed from day one with forever in mind. They didn't just build it, they engineered it to last. So Persepolis is more than just a ruin of an old empire. It's a testament to the power of brilliant, forward-thinking engineering, and it kind of makes you stop and think, doesn't it? Thousands of years from now, when our own glass and steel buildings are ancient history, what will be left of our world? What are we building right now that's designed to last for 2.5 millennia?